All right, we are live. Um, Give some people time to log in here before we get going. I ended up logged into the OVAC website. We ended up I got Ferry's head coach tomorrow, and then I picked up Wheeling Catholic Central on Wednesday.
Awesome.
So trying to get as many coaches as I can.
Yeah, I think the more that we can talk about baseball in the Valley and just spread the word, I think it's a good thing. So
I appreciate you joining me. So we are live here with Coach Mike Valesco from Harrison Central. Coach, thank you for coming on. Why don't you give everybody a little introduction about who Mike Valesco is?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Like I just told you, I think anytime you get a chance to talk about baseball and our kids, I think it's a great thing. So appreciate you having us on. And Mike Valesco, baseball coach at Harrison Central. I'm born, raised in Harrison County, so I'm fortunate to coach my home school, and just a great place to be. I work for amazing superintendent, administration, school board. I'm really fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and it's because of mentors that I had growing up. I think most kids are introduced to baseball at a young age from their dad or grandpa, and that's my case. And then I had so many great coaches, growing up baseball, from my high school coaches, Mike Saffel, and our summer coaches. I played for Richmond Legion for a couple of years. I played for Caddis Legion, so Sam Davis and Dane Morgan. I'm really fortunate to be who I was around.
Nice. How long have you actually been coaching at Harrison Central, whether it be head coach or assistant?
Yeah, so I've been at Harrison since 2012. I was the assistant for Justin Clifford, and we were fortunate that those 2 years that I was with Justin, pretty good run. 2012, it was kind of the beginning of where we're at right now. I feel like 2013, we get to the state tournament with guys like Rasheen Mitchell and Nick Pellegrin and Austin Kowalski and a young core as well. So I was fortunate that next year I took over a program that just came off the state Final Four trip. A lot of momentum and excitement, and it's really carried over to where we're at now. So 2014 was my first season.
2014. So I know it's brutal, but I'm going to bring it up. 2023 recap.
Yeah.
I helped coach at Toronto, so I'm just going to bring it up. Your final two games of the season were probably not the best games that you probably wanted to end on. You jump on us, I think, 9-0 in the top of the first, live on WTOV 9, which makes it probably a little bit more of a dagger as well. But then, we go out that way, and you just didn't finish the regular season probably the way you wanted. Talk about how you got that 2023 team to finish on that mark and then go on the amazing run that you did in the playoffs.
Yeah, we had an extremely mature group, and we've been talking about, for 2 years, win the district and put yourself in a position that once you get to the regionals, you feel like anything can happen. Yeah. In 2022, we're playing in the district championship at home against Ridgewood. And how many teams get at home in a district championship game? But we had rain that day all over the valley or the district. So Ridgewood's coach, I think he probably did the math and realized that if it goes one more day and got rained out, that he was probably going to see our lefty Trey Rex. So his options were wait one more day and get Rex, or come to our place and play on turf. So, credit to those guys. They came down, they beat us in a game that we felt like we were in a position in the sixth inning to win. So I remember that day, that evening, we just kind of sat in the dugout, it felt like, for hours. And a lot of those kids that were juniors on the team were kind of still lingering around. And I remember, Treston Nemeth and Cabot Arball, Jace Madzai, Caden Droska, all those guys just saying, like, we'll be back and we'll be okay. And the work that they put in was, I've never seen anything like it. So then you fast forward to the season, and we had so much adversity throughout the season. We lost 9 or 10 games, and we were just kind of floating around 500. You mentioned those final games against Toronto. Like I said, we're up 9-0, And I feel like every time we play Toronto, you're in that position, and it's just like, these guys aren't going to quit. And when you look across the dugout and they have Toronto on their jersey, and Coach Perk does such a good job, there's just so much pride. So 9-0 against anybody else, we were probably okay. But we knew it was like, man, like it's 9-0, but this doesn't feel good. It was
Yeah.
those guys were just going to keep competing in the box, and that's what they did. And then there's a fly ball to end the game that we got to catch, and
Yeah.
some miscommunication, and it gets dropped, and we lose, and we laugh about it now. But we had a parent that we're fortunate that some of the families we have really good families right now, and a parent reached out that day and said, hey, we're gonna get some Iggy's pizza. The Iggy's pizza seemed like it took so long to get ready, which I love Iggy's, nothing against Iggy's, but it felt like years. So everybody's leaving that place, and we're just sitting on the bus just pouting at this point, and trying to figure out how can we get this group in the next 10 days to buy in, re-buy in, and be focused and ready to go. So I think that next week we did more mental preparation than anything, kind of refocus and told the guys like, hey, everything that we want to achieve and that we talked about for the last 12 months, it's here now, and whether we went 27-0 or, 12-10 or whatever we were, it didn't matter. And just keep playing and find a way to keep getting better. And I told her, when we throw that first pitch against Ridgewood in that first sectional game, nobody's going to remember if you beat Toronto or Steubenville or St. Clairsville. It's going to be our play that day. So the one thing that we really stress here is we want to get better every day. We want every game to be, a learning and teaching moment. We want to win. Don't get me wrong. We want to win every game, but we've really put a lot of emphasis on let's be ready to go come postseason time. And that's always been our thing. And we're fortunate in the last 2 years, we've now won 10 postseason games. And, we look to hopefully keep that going this year.
Nice. So that 2023, you had, like you said, you had Tristan Nemeth. He's now at Dayton. Is he a full-time catcher, or what position is he playing at Dayton?
Yeah, he's full-time catcher. It looks like he's going to redshirt this year.
Okay.
They've done a really good job at Dayton the last couple of years. Coach Jason King has. We were fortunate to have him up at the state clinic and speak this year. So he's in a really good program, and anybody knows that kid just knows he works his tail off. He's valedictorian at our school. So academics really important for that kid. He's an engineering major, and he's fortunate now to play college baseball.
Yeah, so it sounds like he set himself up pretty well past high school ball. Let's talk a little bit about Trey Rex. I know he had a little bit of an arm issue to start off last season, and he's now at Akron. How's he doing up there?
Yeah, doing well. Had his first appearance a couple of weeks ago against the number 1 team in the country, Wake Forest. So, just thrown right into the fire. And pitched really well. He had 2 strikeouts in that inning, gave up no runs. I think college pitchers, especially, you learn that everybody can hit level. And, I think he's learning that. I think he's starting to understand that the strike zone's probably a little bit tighter than what it was. Guys are able to kind of lay off pitches. And he's got all the tools. He's 6'6", 6'7", left-handed, athletic. Velocity is continuing to grow. He's been up to 89 this spring, and I think this, just like similar to Tress, I think the sky's the limit for that kid as well.
Nice. Any of the other 2024 or 2023 seniors go out anywhere?
No, a couple of them could. Caden Drosko is the one that we thought he would, and then in that first sectional game, he kind of became our number 1 because with Trey getting hurt and not being able to throw in the postseason. In the first sectional game against Ridgewood, he throws a pitch, feels something in his arm, doesn't feel right. You go through the process of getting an MRI scheduled and all that stuff. We don't actually get the MRI results until after the season. He finished the postseason, and he got elbow surgery and had torn UCL. So, so what that kid did in that postseason was incredible. Like I said, first sectional game, he tears his UCL. 2 days later, he played left field left-handed.
That's right.
And I kept thinking, like, how is this possible? And so he plays left-handed in the outfield. And then he eventually, you get a week off for districts. He played shortstop. He was fortunate that in the Buckeye Trail game, not one ball got hit to him. The next district game, Nemeth throws a no-hitter. So he still hasn't thrown a baseball at this point. He then goes to the regionals, and then the regional semis. It was the first time he's thrown a baseball in 2 weeks, and he doesn't have a UCL, and he's filling it, and he's hopping it to first base. And I'm thinking, what are we doing? And he just keeps saying, like, Coach, I've worked my entire life for this. I'm not coming out. After the game, we come back and win. I've got 1,000 messages from people that watched the game and said, can you get somebody at shortstop that can throw the ball across the infield? And I'm like, no, like he's my guy. Like, I mean,
yeah.
And then in the regional finals, we need 2 outs to finish that thing in the 7th. And I have no intentions on putting him in. I go out and talk to our guys because we thought it was a bunting situation. And he looked at me and said, give me the ball. And so he gets the ball in the regional finals, gets a strikeout, gets a ground out. And I remember walking off the pitching mound thinking, I cannot make eye contact with his parents because I don't know what they're going to say to me that I just put in the game with an elbow injury.
Yeah.
I told him after the season, I said, you deserve a statue for what you did. Roscoe.
So then what do we got to do who do we got to talk to about getting the statue put up?
Yeah, I think our Lieutenant, I think that kid needs a statue. He's from a little town in our community, Jewett, and I think he's still a hero in Jewett. That group is special. And then the other seniors, Cabot Arball, his brother's still on the team. We're down in Myrtle Beach right now. He's coming down with his family, Jace Madzai and Wyatt Pierce. That was a special group of seniors. Really good kid.
Yeah, sounds like that run was something for the ages for Harrison Central baseball for sure.
Yeah.
So with 2024, it sounds like you lost a lot of kids. Is it a rebuild mode, or do you have guys that are going to be able to come up and fill in?
Yeah, I mean, we throw first pitch here in about 6 hours, so we'll get a little more. I'll get you a better answer here in a couple hours. But I mean, it's tough because our schedule is so difficult. Like you said, we play Toronto, you play Steubenville, you play St. Clairsville, you play I think the Buckeye 8 is a really good baseball league. Indian Creek's really good. Edison's got a great program. You use the word reload against that, and you might be in trouble.
Yeah.
So we say it all the time. We want to be like Toronto, where you lose really good players, but you're still really good. And, year in and year out, I can tell you that Toronto's going to win 20 games. Highland's going to win 20 games. Steubenville, St. Clairsville. And they lose great players. We can't sign these guys to lifetime contracts, or we would.
Right.
We get gas and oil money out here, and we get some contracts. But you can't. So you better be able to develop young players. And you better have a good youth system, and that's where we're getting a lot better. Our junior high team has really taken off. We've got phenomenal, and Tom Miser, Tommy Snyder, Adam Cummings. We got great help there, and we've got guys. We're going to start a freshman tonight at leadoff. He's going to play second base for us. He'll probably get the ball tomorrow. Again, we knew what we were getting because we watched him play a bunch of games for our junior high team. So
yeah.
So as far as calling it a reload, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I hate using that word, but we returned Anthony Pellegrin, who played every game last year. Reed Arball played every game. Tucker Snyder, who's our 3 or 4 hitter last year. He, played every game since his freshman year. Leland Lopez, Caden Dunkel. So we return still core that got unbelievable experience in some really big games last year.
Now, I saw the coaches' rankings come out, and it had y'all ranked, I think, about 7th down there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a pretty good ranking for you guys, or do you feel like does this team feel like maybe they have some work to do to earn that ranking?
Yeah, definitely got to earn that ranking. That's for sure. And last year we came in, I think, 5 or 6 in the preseason, and we eventually got to where we needed to be, obviously. So you definitely got work to do. I think Division III this year, the fun part is when you go on that run, you start to see other districts and you start to see teams that you don't typically get to see, but you hear a lot about. Waynedale's back-to-back state champs, and they returned the kid that we saw in the state finals. I think Willersburg is really good. They returned 8 of 9 starters who we play in the regional finals. And give a little plug here, but April 27th, they come to Caddis and play. Wheelersburg does against us. You got Toronto playing Williamstown. You got St. Clairsville playing South Range. Some really good baseball that day. So we're going to see a really good Wheelersburg team. Heath, who we play in the state semis, returns a really good group. So I think Coldwater's good. And then, like I said, I think our district is really good. Barnesville, Garraway, Fort Fry, Martins Ferry, I think is really good. Ridgewood, who I got so much respect for, Edison, Tusky Valley. I mean, it's a good
Yeah, it's
district.
loaded. It's loaded.
There's some really good teams, and I'm excited to see where we finish.
So let's go back to what you were saying with your development part of things, and just with the staff that you have, not only just with junior high, but Ryan Woods in particular seems to be reloading your youth program from, I feel like, softball and baseball from a young, coach pitch all the way up to junior high. Tell me a little bit about Ryan and your diamond in the rough with your youth there.
He is a guy that, if you watch the movie Moneyball and they try to keep, one guy a little bit of a secret so nobody else could kind of get their hands on him and take, Ryan's out for sure. Man, he is tremendous for us. He really is. He's a guy that, I'll be honest, 6-7 years ago, I knew who he was, but I didn't know much about, the process and stuff. And he has been incredible for us. It's somebody that is a really good baseball mind. And I learned that a couple years ago when I mentioned something about Tom House and a pitching philosophy, and he instantly jumped in the conversation and took off with it. And I knew right away that our kids are in good hands, extremely organized, and is truly in it for the right reasons. He's in it to make Harrison Central and these kids better. And he does amazing work for us. He's awesome. I can't say enough about what Ryan does for us.
Well, I know we scrimmaged the junior high team, and I can tell you the eighth graders that you have in your program right now, when they get to be freshmen, let me tell you, between Snyder and who's the other kid that just hits the crap out of the ball? Miser. Jeez. Them two kids alone can unload on a ball.
That group is really good. There's some good seventh graders. It's deep, like you just said. And, we have no seniors on our baseball team right now. Zero seniors. So we said that's what's so fun about this right now is we know what we got. We know we're still going to have everybody next year. And then you add those pieces. That's a really special group that I think we can have.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got, a couple kids at the college level right now. For any young listener out there right now trying to figure out how they're going to get recruited or get to the next level, explain the process. Like, obviously you have, is PBR coming to Harrison Central, or is it just like a one-day?
Yeah, they're going to come that day as well. I mean, we're fortunate right now that we have 4 guys playing at the Division I level. We have J.R. Hevlin playing, Andrew Cleveland playing, and then Trey and Treston. I mean, we want our guys. I think when you see guys going to play at the next level, that means they had a really enjoyable high school baseball experience. And for them to want to continue that, it makes you feel good, and we want our guys. Those are 4 great kids that are representing Harrison Central, their families. So we want our guys to go play college baseball. So, when you talk about the recruiting process, it's crazy. I don't know what I consider myself a young guy at 36. I didn't go through the process because I was a 200 hitter. And I had an assistant coach tell me, he said, Mike, you would have been a really good baseball player if you could swing the bat and your arm was strong. And, I look back at it now and I said, I guess I was a good fly ball catcher. I mean, I don't know, I swing it, but, I just fell in love with the game. But so I didn't go through the recruiting process just because I wasn't very good. But it's fun to see now, and it's crazy what it is. I mean, it starts so early. I remember when Cleland was coming up, he committed in between his 8th grade and freshman year to Pitt at the time. And it's like, holy smokes, this kid hasn't been on a varsity mound yet. And he had thrown a baseball at 60 feet, 6 inches, because then you play a little bit less sometimes. So it's crazy how much it's changed, as you know, but it's it's stressful. And we got guys that want to play college baseball now, and they will. But it's stressful because, you You want that coach to call you every night. You want to know where you stand, but they're running a program. They're evaluating kids all over the country. It's a stressful process, but it's something that we welcome and we enjoy going through it.
Absolutely. So are you a PBR, a perfect game? Like what kind of guy are you? Because I know it's two different entities,
Yeah.
but everybody likes one or the other usually.
Yeah, I mean, I think what PBR has done for our state the last couple of years, Craig Kyle up at Jonathan Alder was a huge push for that, and we have the underclassmen game now that our coaches association puts on with PBR partnership and stuff. So I think what PBR does is really good for our kids. I think sometimes um, some people give it a bad rap. I mean, like let's just be honest. I mean, I hear it and I hear people say, "Well, it's a showcase kid and stuff." Well, they're doing their job, and
Right.
they're not in it. They don't get money every time a kid commits, and it's like, oh, they get a bonus. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it for the right reasons. You get to know those guys up there. I know Jordan just left and took the job at Wright State, but what those guys do is it's for the kids, and I think anything that we do for our kids, it's a good experience.
I agree. I agree. They do a really good job at whatever tournament or whatever game they're at to get the video clips of all the players as best as they can out there for everybody to see, not just for recruiting, but just for the kids themselves to be able to retweet it and be
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, look, that's me. PBR got me on a videos and I did something.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, you said Adam Cummings. I've got Dalton Cummings in my travel ball organization. Tell me a little bit about your feelings about travel ball, and do you agree with how it goes? Are you a rec ball over travel ball guy?
Yeah, it's a fine line you got to walk. Because as a high school coach, you understand that not everybody's going to have a travel ball experience. So if they're not playing travel ball, they got to play something. They got to go play rec ball, and they just got to keep playing. Um, I'm a baseball guy, so that means
Mm,
if you're getting a great experience with the travel organization, keep doing it. If you're getting a great experience with your rec ball experience, keep doing it. I'm fortunate that my son's 9, so he's got a nice little ball team. Um, I don't call it a travel team because they're 9, and the only reason sometimes we stay at hotels, I think, is because our moms want to and have a good time. Ball, but they're 9 years old and we're taking them to Pittsburgh, Columbus, and those places. So they're playing. So I'm not an anti-travel ball guy by any means. Like I said, I kind of have a little small group with it at 9 years old. I think the more you play, who you're getting coached by is important. I mean,
Absolutely.
let's be honest. I think that's the most important part of the whole aspect. Are they doing the right things? And you can tell. I mean, you got guys that come and you're telling them to tag up, and they're looking at you like, "What are you talking about?" And then you got others.
Yeah.
They're diving into conversations with coaches, and they're saying, "Hey, he's tipping pitches. He's going fastball, breaking ball, or whatever it may be." They're just studying the game because they're getting well coached up in the summertime. So I'm for it. If you can get a really good experience with it, go do it. And we'll get our 10 days that the state gives you. We'll get them when the time's right, and
Yeah.
go do it. Absolutely, absolutely.
Now you said your kids, you coaching a 9-year team with your sons and them. Uh, in all the videos that I watched last year of your playoff run that y'all did, you can see these two little kids running around at all
Yeah.
times. Tell me about that winning feeling and having your kids around with you for that moment.
It's incredible. I remember talking to Tom Marker about this, who's at Olentangy, who's from Steubenville Big Red. And the more you have your kids around the program, the better it is. And I'm fortunate that, I got 2 kids. I got a little boy and a little girl, but a lot of our coaches also have kids that are about the same age. So I'm fortunate that those guys are around because let's be honest, from January until July, my wife's a single mom, but your kids make a lot of sacrifices because of that. So,
Absolutely.
really good opportunity for my kids just to be around dad, and it's a lot of special moments. There's times where I want to kill them sometimes, you know. Uh, you know, he's come up to me before, him and his buddies, in the middle of a game and say like, "Hey, can I go get a hot dog from the concession stand?" And it's like, just go, and
Yeah.
tell him Dad's the head coach and see what happens, But it's really special, and those guys really enjoyed that postseason. When we came up short in the state championship game, I look over and my son and his buddies are just bawling their eyes out. And I told him, I said, like, guys, we'll be back. And it was just crying. It was like, yeah, but Cabot's not. He's graduating. And I'm like, I know, but Cab's going to be back too, and
Yeah.
it's so special. And I think our kids love it too, our high school kids. And then from a baseball perspective, it's cool. Like I'll throw my son out there and say, go get fungo, go hit on the machine. And the growth that we're seeing just because they're coming around practice every day, it's fun. Now on the flip side, it's expensive because now if my son sees somebody with a sliding mitt, he needs a sliding mitt.
Oh my goodness! Don't even go there with sliding mitts, dude.
I mean, and I told him, I said, you're 9. You don't need a sliding mitt. So then he wants the elbow pad. So I told him, I told my wife, I said, he's not wearing it at baseball. He is not taking that sliding mitt, that elbow pad. When he starts sitting in on the fastball and lets it hit him, I'll let him wear it.
Yeah.
Right now, out of the way. So you're not getting the elbow pad just because Bryce Harper and Cabot Arball and Reed Arball wore it. No, like
right.
Go play baseball.
We had a junior high kid, unfortunately, I think 2 weeks ago. He slid back in the third and dislocated his finger.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I was like,
Yeah.
if he had a sliding mitt, maybe that wouldn't have happened. So then I broke down and we went to Robinson this weekend.
Yeah.
And I bought a sliding mitt. The Yetis had 4 games yesterday on top of junior high here in Toronto. So I was down there and my wife messaged me, goes, he hasn't taken that sliding mitt out of his back pocket the whole game. I was like, he wasn't supposed to wear it on defense. And I'm telling you, he hasn't taken it off.
It drives me nuts, but at the same time, that means they love baseball. And they love – I'd rather my son want a sliding mitt, as much as that drives me crazy, than a video game where, whatever. So that means he's thinking about baseball. He's playing. And it's fun to see sometimes, but it could drive you crazy. But have those guys in the dugout, that's for sure. And 2 of my assistants have kids that are the same age. You come to one of our high school games, sometimes we get 10 bat boys, and I'm not joking. We have our dugout sometimes is chaos. It is just chaos, and it's fun to see. And sometimes you got to tell them, go stand on the other side of the dugout. We're fortunate that our dugout is 600 feet long. So I said, go away from us for a couple of innings. And it's entertaining. And that's what it's about at the day, memories. And, sometimes you get caught up in the little things, and I get it. Trust me, we do too. And, but if you really sit down and think about it, it's some pretty cool moments.
Absolutely. I can tell you, when I first got hired on with Coach Perkins in Toronto, we do a little before practice. We always do individual defense.
Mm-hmm.
And at that given moment, my son, who was probably 9, pushing 10, probably, or 11 maybe, it was still dad. Even when we go to practices and tournaments, it's always dad. But for whatever reason, when he saw Don Boucher out there actually getting worked on with me and just kind of working on some different things with our, heel to toe and stuff like that, his eyes kind of lit up, and he was like, that's Dom, and you're coaching him. And I'm like, yeah, that could be you if you would just listen and understand that, and then it clicked. And so, like, when he comes in the dugout, he's one of the guys.
Yeah.
If he doesn't dab up Coach Perkins, Coach goes and finds him.
Yeah.
All the boys take him down there where they're all standing during the at bats, and I have to be like, hey, come over here. Let them focus a little bit. Stay over here and out of trouble. Yeah. I have a tab at the concession stands. Go get your food. Leave us alone for 20 minutes.
For sure.
But it's definitely fun.
It's funny too. The other day, we're trying to get a lot more work now that we're in season, and I always feel like that week before, you're trying to get this last little drill and this last little whatever you're working on. And I look over, and at shortstop we had 2 of our high school kids and 4 of my 9U kids that get off the field. These guys need to work. Like, you don't need to on a pickoff move right now. Get out of it, and so then I saw them play, and they were they were playing rundowns in the cage, and I was like, that's good for them.
That's better. Yeah, they're out
Yeah.
of the way and they're in a cage, so they're not going
Yep.
to get hit. Like
Yep.
that's perfect. Yeah, go run around in there.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're talking about cages and you're talking about your field and your 600-foot dugouts. I mean, let's talk about the Maz. I
Yeah.
mean, is that not the prettiest high school field in this area, or what?
Yeah, I mean it's unreal. We're so fortunate that what we have, and how quick it happened as well. It's incredible. We're biased. We think it's the nicest in the Midwest. We don't even say district. We think Midwest. It's got everything that we need, to help our kids. From a locker room to showers to, we have video access of the games to press box, batting cages, lights, heat. What you need in these cool days. So we got everything we need, and we're really fortunate for what we have.
Yeah,
And there's some unreal fields in the valley. You think about it. How many schools are now turfing? It started with you guys down in Toronto. I grew up in an era that Vaquero Field was always the mecca, in my opinion.
okay. That's the one on Franciscan.
Yeah. When I go to
Okay.
Vaquero, I'll get excited because that's where every big postseason game was. So that place, it's still one of my favorite places to go. We haven't been there in a couple of years with Steubenville's new beautiful facility, but you go Steubenville, like I said, Toronto and Edison. It's really impressive what some of these schools have done in the Eastern District. So, and kudos to those schools.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe spring sports, baseball, softball, even track gets forgotten about a little bit. I mean, let's be honest. But really happy to see that these schools are putting money into the kids and spring sports, and schools are starting to see payoff on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think y'all by far probably have the best field, in my opinion, in this area. The best complex, though, I feel like that probably has to go to Edison, with just being able to have your football field, softball field, and baseball all right there. And then when they have the lights on for all three, I mean, I don't know if you saw an aerial view on Facebook or
Yeah,
anywhere around. Dude, that view was incredible, and
yeah,
just the way that black pops off that
it's
dirt,
cool.
it's pretty good.
You get some
So,
great minds out there, not just with Mike, but with Bill and Mo and those guys. So some great baseball minds and sport minds. So I'm not surprised what they've done there. Pretty cool to see.
yeah. So you are a board member with the OHSSA. How long have you been a board member, and how's that been in the last few years with you doing that?
Yeah, so it'd been a couple years now. There was a spot open, and Mike Colopy was coming off the board, or excuse me, Brian Perkins was, and Brian and Mike were the two representatives from our district, and I think they were just looking for a young guy that was probably scared to tell them no. um, so I took Perk's spot, and then I was fortunate that once I got on the board. Made some really good relationships, and I was able to move up, and now I'm our state association's president. So made some really good connections there and some relationships, and it's been fun. It's the last year was a little bit more hectic, with the state clinic and stuff, but got a lot of really good help from our board, and it's cool because it helped us a ton last year because you're trying to figure out teams from Columbus and Chillicothe area. So now you have those relationships, and it's like, okay, I can call a coach at, down in the Chillicothe area and find out what's Willersburg got.
Yeah,
Do you have any video? Do you have this? Do you have a scout? Then you call the Columbus area. And since then, it's kind of really grown and developed. We've been fortunate that at our place, we've had Grove City come down and Upper Arlington and Olentangy. And, it's been cool to see. And it kind of, it meshes us, I feel like, a little bit with the rest of the state. And
I agree.
so it's got a lot of little perks that have been pretty cool. And, thankful that Mike and Brian got me on that board.
Nice. Now, I see you have the coach's hat on. Um, uh, Tell us a little bit about that convention, because I talked to some not weird, well, Weirton area, obviously,
Yeah.
but just West Virginia coaches, and they don't provide this type of opportunity for their coaches to come up there and have a preseason, little, getaway, I guess, to go to some clinics and stuff like that. So tell us a little bit about that.
It's incredible. It's the second largest coaches association in the country behind Texas. Um, and then you start talking about what we provide at that clinic for $100. I think we had about 30 speakers this year come in from anywhere from, coaches and assistants with the Yankees to Ohio State to SEC coaches, ACC. I mean, it's, you get a group of five. I mean, there's so many great baseball programs across the country, and it's tremendous. It's 3 days of nothing but baseball. So if you love baseball, it's the place to be. It's open for anybody. So you don't have to be a high school coach. You can be a youth coach, a travel coach. You can just be a fan of baseball and just want to learn more about the game. And if you go up there that weekend and you don't get better, well, then you're missing out on some really good opportunities. I mean, you can sit there and talk to, Aaron Hilt came in, pitching coach at Central Michigan and Edison grad and stuff. So you can sit there and have dinner with him and talk about pitching philosophies. Or you can go and jump in with the Yankees hitting coach and talk about their hitting philosophies and a one-on-one setting that you probably don't get if you don't attend those clinics.
I agree. It was definitely a great experience. Definitely some long days for sure, sitting in there, especially when your coach is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame there. That one was a long day for sure, just, between all the clinics and then that little session there. So you talked about just your philosophy with sitting down with those coaches and getting their philosophy. What is your philosophy? I know when we show up sometimes, I feel like your last 30 minutes of practice is dedicated towards bunting, it feels like, because I feel like every time we show up, you got two different stations full of bunting going on,
Yeah.
down third base, down first base. What kind of coach are you?
Yeah. I mean, I think you better be able to do a little bit of everything. And I think with high school kids, you're not going to have the Tresson Nemeth and Nate Krafas, every day. So you better find guys that can put the bat on the ball. And we're a huge believer in offensively, the more aggressive you are, the better. We love to bunt. We love to steal. We love to run. We love it. I mean, I think our kids really love it too. We buy into it. Our kids know that I could be a 3-hitter, but I'm going to bunt. And I think Treston, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, he's the only player to go through our program that's never bunted. And I remember in the regionals, he came in, he was on deck, and he's like, "Hey, you want me to bunt here?" And I'm like, "No, you're crazy. Like, swing the bat."
Yeah, so some kids you don't want to take the
Yeah.
bat out of their hands, but
Yeah.
I can
We
appreciate that.
Yeah, we bunt like crazy, and I joke and say Toronto spends as much time as they spend on pickoff moves. We probably do with
What are you talking about? We don't work on pickoff moves.
Yeah. So we love to bunt, and we spend. I say it all the time, and I truly mean it. There's nobody in the state of Ohio that bunts more than we do at practice. We do it every single day for at least 20 to 30 minutes every day.
Yeah,
One thing
absolutely.
not give in on. And we bunt the baseball in our district final game last year against Fort Fry. We went 3 bunt for hits, and I felt like it was really what got us going offensively. It's I love bunting. I love talking about it. I love practicing it. And man, when it's successful, it is so enjoyable to watch. And then
Absolutely.
when you struggle with it, man, you wanna lose your mind.
Yeah.
We do so much with it, but we love bunting. So I think offensively, that's the biggest thing is we love to be aggressive, and I feel like it starts there. And then pitching wise, that's somewhere where I think we're continuing to grow. We've been fortunate that we had some pretty good arms, but then when you lose them, you got to continue to develop them. And I feel like spent more time, as much time as we spent on bunting, we spend just as much time on pitching right now and focusing on throwing the strike. And that's what we learned last year in that state tournament run was you don't need 90. 90 helps. Don't get me wrong. If I can throw 90 over the plate, you're going to get a lot of outs. But
Yeah.
you throw the ball over the plate, you're going to get a lot of outs. And I remember Coach Freddie telling me the one day, he said, watch the team take batting practice. Most balls that they hit, they're outs. I mean, it's an easy ground ball. It's a fly ball. So all you got to do is throw a strike over the plate. And, not walk guys. And so we spend a lot of time on that, and we got to field the baseball. When you play on turf, there's no excuse. You're outside, you're fielding the ball every single day. You got to field the ball. And that's where we got to continue to grow this year, with a new shortstop and new third baseman and new first baseman. We got to field the baseball, and we got to continue to get better at that.
I agree. Now, in the earlier part of the season, you probably don't do this, but towards the end, when you have a pitcher, even like Trey Rex or even Nemeth on the mound, or even your other player, do you allow them to call their own pitches, or do you kind of keep it set with the situation for the coaches?
Yeah, we go back and forth on that, and it's more of a situation by situation on who's on the mound. And last year when Tristan wasn't catching, we were catching Anthony Pellegrin, who will be our catcher now, but he was a sophomore. His freshman year, he had some back injuries, so he was a little bit banged up. So he was learning how to call games. So there's a lot of feedback back and forth in the dugout. I would say the majority, especially in the regular season, we're letting our kids call a ton, and we're letting them learn what I feel comfortable with, how I get outs, and just the game of baseball, because I think it's a really good teaching moment. It really is. But our conversations in the dugout early on is, hey, we're getting a little too predictable. We're going fastball off speed, fastball off speed, or whatever it is. So, that's just, charting yourself and understanding what you're doing. But we let our kids have a little bit of freedom there. We'll interject and we'll stop them here. But, they're calling a good bit of the game.
Now, you use Game Changer, correct? You do use Game Changer, right?
A little bit. I am, we try to keep things as much private as we possibly. So we use a couple different things, and our staff, we work so hard. Our coaches do. They do. I should say they do. On the bus ride down, we're sitting here and we're going through game by game and charting other teams and just trying to catch tendencies. So I say it all the time. If we're doing it, that means somebody else is doing it. So we try to keep as much of that stuff to ourselves as possible. But those scoring apps really make things a lot easier as a coach, whether you're using iScore or Game Changer. There's so many different, versions. It really helps.
Yeah, I know every time playoffs or the end of the season comes, we always, obviously we do scout. So we do go out and watch other teams, but sometimes you don't have to if they're viewing the game live on Game Changer. I know that's how I watched Toronto's home game on Saturday. Was we went to Robinson and I went on Mineral Ridge's Game Changer, and there it was live. Well, this can't get any better.
Yeah.
So I just sat there and watched it, took notes on what I thought the infielders were doing and how we pitched, and just different things. That way, if and when I do go to a high school and I see them, having practice, I can jump on the field. Coach Perkins is always he's always allowed me to go in there and work with the players that I need. I'm not on the staff this year just because of the time it takes to be a varsity coach. Like you said, from January to June, your wife can be a single mom.
Yeah.
So, I've taken a step back. I help coach practices for junior high, and then I've got the Yetis, and then I've also gone to a couple of my daughter's softball practices to help out with them. So, she deserves the attention just as much as Braxton does and stuff like that. So just trying to split my time up with the whole family and making sure that everybody gets some time from here until June. It's tough.
It is. I'm fortunate that my wife is, she came from an all-girl family. She's got two sisters, but she is all in on baseball now. And, sometimes she'll give me some advice on the lineup, and she's learning that,
Yeah.
She'll say, well, why don't you bat this guy lead off? And I just smile and say, okay. I learned not to.
She texts you during the game?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm sure once my daughter gets a little bit older, she will. And it'll probably be $1 to go get that sucker at the concession stand. But, she doesn't text me yet, but she's our biggest fan. She loves our kids, and it's fun to see, but it's really cool.
Nice. That's always nice to have that support for sure. I know we're always talking about, what can we do for the moms during the season? We always seem to play Mother's Day weekend baseball tournaments, and then we never play on Father's Day weekend, so she gets a little upset.
Yeah.
So she tries to take care of the moms. I know we did a podcast of the 12U parents, and I was just kind of like letting them let loose on me, I guess it felt like. So that was good. With that same topic, how do you control your parents during the season? Um, I know I'm not going to say any names, but you had one parent that seemed like he was definitely involved with the season last year as far as just on Twitter and different things like that. So how do you control the parents and not go have the support that you want, but not take it overboard and bring a lot of light to the program?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is you want to see family support, and I think, you know, sometimes maybe one parent, one mom or dad's doing a little bit more than the other. Um, at the end of the day, when you go home at night, you say, are they doing it because they care about the kids? And if the answer is yes, it's okay.
Yeah,
Then how do we, find that middle ground a little bit? And you know, I've been fortunate that, like I said, the school district that I work for really supports our coaches. So I'm fortunate in that aspect of I know that as long as we're doing the right thing, a parent may disagree with it, but I'm going to get support. So I never have to worry about going into the principal's office on Monday because the kid's not getting playing time and I got to listen to it. The school does a good
yeah,
job of taking care of that for us. And I think our families learn what coaches they could probably push and what not. I mean, let's be honest. You know, and I come from a loud Italian family that sometimes you yell and you express some emotion. So I'm sure maybe that intimidates some people right off the bat.
yeah,
But no, I'm fortunate. We got great family support right now. We've got a lot of families down here at Myrtle Beach with us for this weekend. And I think that's one thing that you continue to learn as a young coach, that you want family involvement, because then if you go home and your mom and dad or whoever's at home with you, they're bought in as well, it makes things so much easier. So,
yeah.
again, there's a fine line, but but you involvement, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, I had an interview last Tuesday, or was it Wednesday? Wednesday with Doug Costain, and he said that y'all aren't on the schedule. And he goes, Coach Valesco is avoiding him this year.
I mean, it's tough when you make a trip down south. You got to bump some games, and that's a tough thing to do. But then you play your Buckeye 8 games, and then you play the teams that you always play: Toronto,
Yeah,
Steubenville, Edison. Now that they're not on the Buckeye 8, it's tough, and everybody wants to come to Caddis right now and play, and I get it, but unfortunately, you only get 27 games. You got to keep 2 open for OVAC, 1 open for Buckeye 8. So now you're
yeah,
down to 4. It's tough. I wish we could play 50 games and we could schedule everybody, but unfortunately, we can't get everybody on there, and maybe we can get Brooke next year.
yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna finalize this last little segment here, and like I do every segment here, the final segment is sponsored by Corey's HVAC, local to Toronto, but does all surrounding areas for your heating, air conditioning issues, service repairs. Call Corey at 740-317-3649. These are going to be rapid fire questions for you, Coach.
Okay.
Pre-game meal. What's your go-to pre-game meal?
Yeah, our school doing this little weight loss challenge. So right now it's a salad. I stress out about every game, so I'm not a huge eater day game. I'll crush some food once I get home. So right now I'll go salad.
Salad. We know Iggy's is your post-game meal, right?
Love it.
So you're in the middle of a game. What's your in-game snack or a drink to kind of like hold you over in the middle of the game?
Yeah, it's tough because there's no seeds and stuff on the turf, as you know. So
Right.
can't get any seeds. A couple Swedish fish.
Swedish fish. Okay.
I'm a candy guy, and again, with having 35 bat boys, I promise you, there's candy in our dugout.
Oh, for sure.
So I'll find whoever's got a little Swedish fish or a gummy worm or something like that.
All right. Driving down the road, you're going to Myrtle Beach. What is your go-to song that you can listen to on repeat day in and day out?
I don't know how I became one, but I'm an old school hip hop fan. And I say old school, it probably depends on what age you are, what classifies old school. But anything Biggie, Tupac, it's our guys in the weight room, used to laugh. I always tell them it's a good day for Tupac. And
Yeah.
I'm an old school rap guy. So,
You know, go back to Doug Costain. He actually shocked us with his go-to song, and it was actually an Eminem song. He was like, "You can put on Eminem, and I'll be good to go."
yeah.
Um, outside of the Maz, what is your favorite park that you've ever either played in or seen with your own eyes?
Canal Park last year in Akron was pretty special.
Yeah,
But locally, like I mentioned, I loved Vaquero growing up. I loved it. That was one of my favorites just because you had so many great memories there from Legion and high school season, going and watching older teams play. I love Vaquero, and then I love Ridgewood. And something about that
Ridgewood.
there that I think he does a tremendous job. So those places are up there for me for sure.
Outside of 2023, what was the best game you've ever been a part of?
2016 when we won the district. We played Tusky Valley in the district finals at Ridgewood. Maybe that's why I love that place so much. But that place was rocking that day. Again, we had 13 where we made to the state final four, and then continue 14, 15. We had good teams, and then 16. The momentum was still going, and we were on the right side of that. So 2016 district finals against Tusky Valley. We had a huge double play ball. I remember guys at first and second. Guy hits a ball down the line at third base, and Giovanni Rocky steps on the bag, throws it to first. Huge double play. And I still remember our guys just going crazy, and that game's pretty special.
Nice. Well, thank you, Coach, for taking time out of your busy day and joining us here on this Monday morning down here, or up here, I guess I should say. I still got a little bit of south. I always think everything's down here. So thank you for coming. Good luck this weekend with your 2 games down there. Safe travels back home, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, and go Huskies. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You have a good one.
Yeah.